The Bloodline appear to be done. We are entering Bloodline Civil War. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD. Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast review of WWE Night of Champions, or if you are watching from the States, Afternoon of Champions.
Oh, I suppose that's a good shout, actually. And in some cases, it would have been a morning of champions.
If you haven't already, please press the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment down below with what you thought of the show, and get in those UltraChats. UltraChats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll be reading out every single one of them, over 5 of your US dollars before the end of the show. Apparently, we've had quite a few already because the Bloodline stuff is exciting again.
Yeah, it had its sort of like month and a half break when Roman took a month and a half break and it was spinning its wheels for a little bit.
And he just didn't lose the title at WrestleMania.
That's also part of the break, I suppose. And then we're just like, I guess we could just do the Usos versus Kevin and Sami again. Well, why not? And they did that. And then I think a lot of us were getting a bit of Bloodline fatigue. I think a lot of that is he did not lose the titles at Mania. And then it was, oh, we're just doing the same story, but again now. And I've already seen the heroes win.
But with Riddle.
Yeah. Like, you've been added in now.
I mean, I like you, but you weren't part of any of this.
I mean, he did get taken out by Solo last year, but no one really remembers.
I think
that.
we all kind of moved past that.
We had moved past it pretty much, but they're like, no, you're also part of this now. And then he was then not a part of it after the 6-man tag at Backlash, which of course the Usos won, which sort of, I actually think that the month and a half gap that we had where Roman took his holiday did a bit of damage to Kevin and Sami. I think it did a bit of damage to the tag titles and did some damage to the Bloodline. But the second that Roman got back, all of a sudden, it was one angle, and it was him bumping into Solo and then being really apologetic about it, being like, oh, sorry there, bud. I was like, oh, the story is, yes, you're right. Yes, no, you are correct. The story is good, isn't it?
Yeah, because there are more ways to go, and WWE do seem to want to go there. It's just, you just stalled for a month and a half.
That's it. And like, I think a few people have said, oh, look at you fickle bastards. Like, now the story, you're always saying that it's good again now. It was always, like, just the fact that it had a really good angle last night does not negate the month and a half of bad storytelling. It's just that it was really good pre-WrestleMania. WrestleMania was a bit of a road bump. Then it was rubbish for a month and a half. And now it's great again.
It's like before Triple H got the book ready. I sort of date the modern greatness, like the real true, and I'm genuinely serious about this, HBO level quality storytelling from the Bloodline saga. Sopranos, The Wire, feels like that meaty. I date that from not Night of Champions, that was literally last night. Clash at the Castle, with the addition of Solo. Like, that's when it was like, oh, because then after that, you've got the War Games match. Sami really, really gets hot. You've got the angle after the Rumble, which had those brilliant segments like the trial of Sami Zayn building up to that. Then you had Elimination Chamber. Incredible.
And the Rumble match in between there with the removal of Sami from the Bloodline. Yeah.
And then you had, of course, the WrestleMania 39 Night 1 main event. It's like, oh my God, this is all crescendoing in the best way. And then that. But like, you said there's a month and a half that's not quite good there. Oh, it was about a year.
Yeah,
it was about a year before that Clash at the Castle bit where it was also just treading water.
Yeah, it really was. Like at the end of the pandemic era into the live events return.
The Brock Lesnar Infinite match.
The Vince era. Like, Brock Lesnar wins the WWE title, but then loses it, but then wins it again so we can reunite we can unite the titles. A decision that was a last-minute call because Roman got ill for day one. And they were like, we'll just put the title on Brock Lesnar then and we'll unify the titles at WrestleMania. Well, we don't know, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. And then 2 years later, we'll create a new world title. That's what we'll do.
Well, typical Smarks. We've really enjoyed the show. We've just spoken about how we haven't enjoyed the more recent times.
But I think you do have to sort of like establish that because that is context for, I think, then how important last night's angle feels. Because last night's angle, and people might have seen already, there's a link to it in the video description down below. We had a party for this. We had a watch-along party down at the Long Arm Pub and Brewery in Shoreditch. And this Jimmy super kicking Roman Reigns, the place went banana, as Pat Patterson would have once said. Including me, because if you watch that video, you can see me in the background jumping up and down with everyone. And I'm celebrating, I'm hugging people when Sami and KO pick up the win. It was genuinely like this. I sort of, this is what I said in the news, this cathartic moment of like, it took me back to January of when this was the best story in professional wrestling. And I was really excited for it again. That does not negate the month and a half of badness that we've had between Mania and this, or the year of badness that we had pre-Triple H taking over the book. It's just, this is the next excellent chapter, but it's a chapter that probably should have happened directly after WrestleMania. It's just that we were treading waters while Roman was taking time off, but now we're here. So we're here and we've done this chapter, and I'm so excited for it.
So let's talk about what happened. The main event was super... Sorry, before we go any further, you have the tiniest eyelash. Just that. Do you want me to get it for you?
Get it for us.
Ooh, make a wish. There it is.
Thank you, bud.
Oh, it's gone.
No, you lost it. Well, now I can't make a wish.
Oh, crap. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the match itself, the main event, which was Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa going for the undisputed tag team titles of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, was extraordinary in its own right. Really good match.
Good.
Like, just having Roman out there, first off, he's another level.
I said this, obviously I was just like, in amongst the people while we were watching this match. And no one was like, people were talking to me and asking sort of my opinions and stuff like that. But we were just watching Roman make his entrance. And then he was just there and he was sort of, looking at Sami and stuff. And it was like that sort of momentary moment, like when he was just stalling around the ring. And I just, to myself, out loud went, he's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, he's just perfect.
There's a lot of walking round the ring, stalling, grinning in that, like, but then all of a sudden, now I'm angry.
Yeah.
Why are the crowd doing this?
He is just he is greatness on another level. He is Goatel.
So the start of the match as well, people didn't touch for ages. I think it went about 2-3 minutes before there was an actual lockup or a move, because it was just the pacing around the ring, someone getting out, stalling, tagging Sami, Roman tags out, all that stuff. And it's just Roman soaking up all this heat.
He was just so great.
On a Goddle level.
It was on a Goddle level. And it was because they make the Bloodline make their entrance first, and then Sami and KO come out. And it was quite a surreal experience to be seeing Sami Zayn at a Saudi show and seeing Kevin Owens at a Saudi show as well, because he did the first one, but then stopped doing them in solidarity with his brother in Sami Zayn. And, Bryan Danielson also refused to do them as well because they rejected it. John Cena then stopped doing them as well because it would have harmed his career in Hollywood. There's the reported reason. But the tensions between Saudi Arabia and Syria have now diminished. They're on okay terms.
It's all fixed, I hear.
It's all fixed.
Yeah.
So Sami was able to do this. And I'd never really thought about how important that then would be for Sami.
Yeah.
Because I always just thought it was like, he was just, I don't want to do it anyway because, tensions, this, that, and the other. But no, he got there and it was like this. The crowd was so excited to see him and he was so excited to see them. And he did his introductions for him and KO in Arabic. And it really, there was this moment of and he was in tears of how emotional this all was. And it was genuinely beautiful.
I was caught by surprise. I mean, I was, privately very cynical. I was like, oh yeah, well, he's a tag team champion. How good were those last 3 years of moral posturing then? How, it feels like someone's gone back on a moral stance that they made. So when it happened, and it was so affecting in a sincere way as well, like not in a WWE forefront of change, here's some women in a t-shirt. It felt really well done and well-meaning and well-intentioned, and almost reconciling in a way of all the bad feelings. Of course, it's not completely fixed. It's still hugely morally complicated. But it just felt like a bit of a release of tension from all those years. And it totally caught me by surprise. And then I just thought, and I said it in my review, oh my God, Triple H is even good at sports washing. Because it still is.
It is.
It's a categorically paid for show by the Saudi government to make them look good abroad.
Yeah.
And that's what this did.
And it did.
But the WWE have not done that. It's just been very transparent. The jokes about Jeddah, Riyadh, what a beautiful city, hasn't worked. But this was, I was like, My God.
Yeah.
That WWE are doing something really important right now.
Yeah. It's funny. So Dan Layton shared this story on the live reactions yesterday, but he was in a country that was next to Saudi Arabia. They are connected. And it was during the first women's match that they had on one of the Saudi shows. And he was speaking to someone from the area, and he said, like, this must be a really huge deal. Like, this must be a really pivotal moment because this is what WWE is saying. We're at the forefront of change. Women are getting to wrestle on the show. And the person said, no one cares. Yeah, it literally means nothing to us.
Well, judging by the crowd reaction for the women's matches,
Still doesn't.
Still disinterested.
But Sammy... They were very, very happy to see Sammy, and I was very happy to see Sammy as well. And when he was doing his ring introductions in Arabic, Roman literally went, what?
Yeah, that was so good.
And that was my moment where I was like, oh, he's perfect. Yeah. He's absolutely perfect.
So really good tag match. Went 25 minutes. Loads of great spots. The interactions between Sammy and Roman in particular were very, very good, like charged and all that stuff. And then comes the finish. Roman Reigns accidentally spears Rudy Charles, the referee.
And somehow blames him for it.
Yeah. What are you doing, Rudy Charles?
Spears the referee out of his boots. Like, there's a ref bump, which is a tink, and then the person falls down. And this was just like, bosh.
It's ref death.
It was ref death. And he gets up, looks at Roman, and looks at Paul, and he's like, what was he doing? What was he playing at?
It's always someone else's fault for Roman. And that allows the Usos to come in and they start super kicking Sammy because Kevin Owens is taken out outside. But unbeknownst to them, Solo Sikoa has got in the ring. He's ready to get behind Sammy, but Sammy ducks. They both super kick Solo. Roman sees this and he's like, what are you guys doing? Starts pushing Jimmy's face and then he starts pushing Jay's face. And then out of nowhere, Jimmy Uso super kicks Roman Reigns in the face.
No one saw it coming.
Well, Brandon saw it coming because exactly before the match started, he went, I think Jimmy's going to turn on Roman. And I was like, don't be ridiculous, Brandon. You know nothing about this. It's exactly what happened.
It was exactly what happened, but like everyone that was in the crowd, like we lost our minds at what happened. And it was like, and I think this is a really good misdirect. This whole 2-year plus story, we've all been saying like it's building to Jay doing the turn, it's building to Jay doing the turn, it's building to Jay doing the turn. Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam, like that's the match that we need to build to. Like that's the one. It started with Jay and Roman, and we need to get back to Jay and Roman. And in all of that, Jimmy, and we've even talked about this on podcast, Jimmy has been the forgotten part of this storyline because Jay has got his stuff, Sammy had his stuff, even Solo had his stuff, and of course Roman's got his stuff. But Jimmy was just happy to be there. He was just doing handshakes with Sammy and stuff. But since they lost the tag titles, it's still been the focus is on Jay and it's pleading to Jay and it's I acknowledge Sammy saying I acknowledge you, Jay. And that was all the misdirect for it to be Jimmy the one to pull the trigger and super kick Roman. And in saying so, said to his brother Jay, I'm going to do what you should have done a long time ago.
In a nice way.
In a nice way. But yeah. Jimmy has known they should have been doing this all along, but he's just been playing along because he doesn't want to upset. And even when they did that, Jay was still conflicted over what to do. He did not know. He still cannot pull the trigger. He has seen Sammy turn on Roman. He has seen Jimmy turn on Roman, and he still cannot do it.
Yeah, and that's really, really great complex character work from Jay. Over the last month and a half, it feels like it's been a bit repetitive, almost, got a bit annoying. But hopefully we can get back to the place where it was before, where he was conflicted, because that wasn't me choking up. That was just because we've had so much salty food today.
Yeah, recovering from last night. Although we didn't have a drop of alcohol between us, we were doing a lot of talking last night. What it is it's a portrayal of an abusive relationship. And even though everyone is saying to Jay, you've got to get out. Here's the door. I've just opened it really wide for you. Roman's on the floor. You can walk out. It's not that easy. Sammy's done it for him. Jimmy's done it for him. His own brother now. And he still can't do it. Yeah.
Because Jay's face on that first super kick is almost a smile. But it could also be confused, like, oh my God, what have you done, Jimmy? Dan Layton said on the live reactions, Emmy Award nominee, Jey Uso.
I think that's a bit much.
I think we should start a campaign.
I really think that's a bit
Why
of
not?
a stretch.
Why not?
Because this is not Succession. Like,
it's better.
It's not though. Look, this is great. ... For professional wrestling.
Well, then it's the Emmys. Make a new category. WWE do it all the time. Best emotional performance in a WWE show goes to WWE.
That I could get on board with. A WWE endorsed award. The Montgomery Burns Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence.
And it goes to John Moxley. Oh no, we've made a huge mistake. But Jay he's sort of conflicted. And he goes towards Roman after the second kick, where Jimmy has, beautiful line, "I got you," as well. Like, don't worry, brother, I'm here for you. And Jay looks like he's going to reach down and pick Roman up. Like, he could be going to kick him himself, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels more like, "Oh, Roman, are you okay?" And it's up to Jimmy to then usher Jay away from him. So, yeah, it's astoundingly nuanced.
It's so good, because the reason why this storyline has been so great, and I think the reason why the storyline has captured the imagination of wrestling fans, and we were saying then we've had like loads of UltraChats on this, and we do always get loads of UltraChats in when there's a big Bloodline angle, because it's the thing that people want to talk about. When we were there at the Long Arm pub yesterday, this is the thing that people wanted to ask me about. Was like, what do you think's happening in the main event? Do you think they win in tag titles? Do the Usos turn? And people, like, honestly, as that main event started, I had 6 different people turn to me and say, like, I think this could happen. What do you think of this angle? What do you think of this idea? Everyone's got their own thing, and the reason why is because it's so multi-layered and so multifaceted. It's a really well constructed wrestling angle. It's a brilliant story that's got loads of great characters, loads of great moments in there, and loads of levels of nuance, as you say. There's a one working theory is that the reason why Jay is trying to not turn on Roman and is the protecting of Jimmy and everything is that he's seen Roman's wrath, because he's had the 2 matches with him, or the 3 matches. He had the Hell in a Cell match. He knows what levels Roman could go to if you're not on his side. So he is still trying to protect Jimmy from doing it. So when Jimmy attacks him, it's not like, why did you turn on a bro? It's like, why did you do that? Because now he's going to come after you. And Tom Campbell from Cultaholic can say that he came up with that theory on his own, but I think I came up with it on my own, and I didn't read it on his Twitter feed. So if he wants to send any lawyers after me, he can do. But I'm not saying I did see it on his Twitter feed, but I think it's a very good. Yeah. It's a credible storytelling.
So where do we go next? Because originally this Friday's SmackDown was going to be the 1,000-day celebration of Roman Reigns' title reign. I don't think it's gonna go as celebratory as we thought before last night.
Yeah, Heyman's tweet was like, "We will discuss this in detail on Friday."
Which is just like, that's what's been missing from the TV. These really soap opera style segments.
Yeah.
Now, the trial of Sami Zayn that's up there with one of my favorite in-ring non-wrestling segments of all time.
It was so good.
Sami's promo before Elimination Chamber. Just the So Uzi bits. When the Bloodline are in the ring doing their story, when they're behind the scenes doing their storytelling, and just like the little backstage bits, when they're in the ring, it's great. They just need Roman around more.
That's the problem, is the storyline doesn't work when Roman's not there.
He can be off for like a week, 2 weeks maybe, but not large expanses of time.
The length of time, I think, and that's what sort of stagnated the story somewhat. But like my hope is that this killer angle, to capped off a brilliant pay-per-view as well, can be that kickstart into the story where we thought it was going to be going after WrestleMania, as opposed to stalling, and then we get to it. I'm so into it, and I can't wait to watch SmackDown.
Yeah. Rikishi has tweeted, of course, Jimmy and Jay's father, Rikishi. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm so confused by the Anoa'i dynasty sometimes, who's related to who and how.
Who's a brother, who's a cousin.
Who's just some mate that actually apparently counts as a blood uncle.
I remember Samoa Joe on Talk Is Jericho. I think it was pre him joining WWE. Was like, yeah, I'm an odyssey in wrestling. I'm a Samoan guy, and I'm not related to
anyone. But yeah, Rikishi might show up. He's sort of tweeted. I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Because then Roman can beat up Jimmy's dad.
Yeah. Well, I said this in the news episode that we're coming out later on the WrestleTalk news channels. Like, I would love Rikishi to be part of the storyline. A, I'm an Attitude Era guy, so just seeing Big Keish back on TV is always great. But B, the idea of Roman Reigns taking a stink face is really hilarious.
Also, if, you do the beat up Roman and Solo, throw him out. Oh, lights go down.
They do
Jimmy, Jay, and Rikishi.
They do the dance.
Doing the dance.
So, to answer the question of what's next that we've got on the thumbnail before we get into your UltraChats, there are sort of some reports. Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer said that the sort of, the theory, the sort of idea is Roman's advertised for Money in the Bank and he's going to be defending the titles. That's not Dave saying he is defending the titles, just like that's one of the ideas that's being presented. Could be against Lashley or one of the Usos. But the other pitch, which came from Worked Wrestling, is that it's the tag match at Money in the Bank. The Usos versus Roman and Solo. But that is then 2 straight pay-per-views with no title defense for Roman. But you do have a brand new secondary title that can be the world title match on that show.
I quite like the idea of Roman not defending that much at all. Like 3-4 title defenses a year.
I think as well, him going into just, like if he just goes into a feud with Lashley, it then detracts from the story that we're telling with the Usos. We're actually better off just sticking this within the bloodline.
Look, it's tried and tested. The title isn't the draw. The storyline and the characters are the draw. And this is not a title feud. The title's part of the context, but it's not the be-all and end-all. So I think even if Roman had lost the belts at WrestleMania, which is probably why he should have, this would still be just as compelling and pulling in the exact same amount of TV ratings or pay-per-view watches.
It is interesting. One of the other things I was asked a lot yesterday was like, who do you think Roman loses the title to now? And I suddenly was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm really not bothered about who takes the title anymore because that's not the thing I'm interested in.
I kind of want Bron Breakker now for some reason.
Good. I just had a thought then as well. Solo's dad, Rikishi.
Yes, and there's another Fatu.
Yeah, Jacob Fatu.
Jacob Fatu in MLW.
Yeah. But yeah, so you got the Usos on one side and Solo on the other.
You think he's going to do the dance?
Rikishi trying to lure Solo onto their side of the family, lure him away from Roman.
I saw a few people mention that it's odd how Heyman introduced Solo Sikoa as just Solo.
I had a worry they're trying to change his name.
Or, hopefully it's Solo Sikoa, but maybe it's a little bit of a sprinkling of foreshadowing by Heyman, which he is that's a very Heyman trait. One more pitch from me. Jay wins Money in the Bank.
Yeah, yes, if you don't do the tag match and you have Jay in there instead. Not the worst idea in the world.
Let's get over to our UltraChats, WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 US, and there are a bunch so far. Gabriel Reyes, member for 22 months in a row. Really wish one day I can travel to the UK to join you all in a watch-along. Seemed like a great night. Really increased my enjoyment of the show. These are chats missed from our stream last night. Swain So Sour, member for 19 months. First show in years where I've enjoyed every single match. 10 out of 10 PPE. It's premium. Live event, PLE. Glad I got to watch with you guys.
He might have had a really good mask on.
PPE was the stuff from the pandemic that we all talked about. Now give me Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam. Thank you. Well, Gossip, thank you, WrestleTalk.
Thank you.
Daniel Raheel, we can call him Daniel. He's already allowed that. Daniel here again. What a finish. And now even though I said Gunther to beat Roman for the titles, but now it has to be Jay and also do it solo Roman versus Usos at Money in the Bank. Then Jay Roman at SummerSlam, so Jay wins the titles, makes perfect 3-year ending to the story. Wow, that would be a huge way to catapult Jey Uso into stardom.
Yeah, it would do, yeah. I think one of the criticisms that this storyline has had, at least from viewers we've had on this channel, is that this storyline hasn't elevated anyone. But I've always made the argument it's elevated Jay and it's elevated certainly Jay, and I think now this angle is elevating Jimmy as well.
I'd say Sammy and Solo.
But I was gonna say Solo. I think Sammy now feels so much bigger than he did pre-Bloodline. I think that it has done wonders for others.
By the way, all those chats, because they were from the stream last night, all of that money will go towards Women in Sport. We're a charity helping women get into sports and the sport industry, which we raised $1,500 for yesterday.
Thank you to everyone who sent in an Ultra Chat yesterday on the live stream reactions and who purchased a ticket for the raffle live in the building at the Long Island Pub and Brewery to win a signed Jam That Championship won by the Decadane. And it was, lovely to see so many people donating to such a great charity.
This is on the subject of the Bloodline, so today's podcast. Charles Berg says, very fun show with an electric crowd, and even though they disappointed me by not booing me, I still got booed in the chats. And an Ultra Chat booing me, so a win's a win. Jimmy superkicking Roman was also a very cathartic moment. Jam that jam.
Maybe next time.
Matt Hennessy says, when Sami Zayn turned face and left the Bloodline during the build to WrestleMania, one of the promos he did always stuck with that he said to Jay, family doesn't test your loyalty every single week. They don't make you jump through hoops just to prove your worth. I've seen a lot of people say this, and I agree. Sami Zayn's rise has been the greatest success of the Trips era of WWE. He has headlined 5 of the last 6 WWE Premium Live events.
Yeah, the only one being the Rumble.
I hadn't even thought. And he was a huge part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it's also Night 2 of Mania.
Yeah, it could also be included.
Yeah, it's a really strong record there. And now holds a victory over Roman Reigns. Zayn's 2 goals when he left the Bloodline was to take them down and see them crumble. Sami succeeded in his goals. He beat Roman in the end. We're getting Bloodline Civil War, and I see us getting 4 big matches from it. Jimmy versus Roman at Money in the Bank, which will be the night Jay sides with Jimmy. Setting up Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam, which then leads to the Usos versus Reigns and Solo at the Premium Live event after SummerSlam, or the next Saudi show leading to Solo versus Roman at Survivor Series. Come Mania 40, when Roman fights Cody, he will be a chief without a tribe. It will lead to Reigns' downfall.
The only problem I've got there is that you really had me until you put Cody in it. I'm not bothered anymore.
Yeah, I'm over that now.
I'm so over it.
I finished my story on WrestleMania, if they still think they're telling theirs. Only thing I would have changed about last night, I would have had Sami pin Roman.
You can't pin Roman, that's the problem.
I would have. That's what I just said.
But I think you're telling the story that he's gone because he's 1,000 days of champion, but hasn't been pinned in 1,200 days or something, some nonsense like that. So I don't think you just throw away something like that.
It's not thrown away.
But then you've got to set up another match that you can't do.
Well, that you've got.
They're on different brands. And these are the rods I'm going to argue from the rules that they make. They make these rules that means they can't do these certain things.
Sami can travel between both brands, kind of, because he's a undisputed tag champ. And I think Jay and Jimmy
not just drafted,
not just contributing. I don't know. Jimmy and Jay contributing not just to that loss, but to Roman losing is far more it should make Roman far angry.
I agree. But because of the structure of the company and the way they tell their stories, you can't do it.
Ben Vlerick, what's next for the undisputed title? Granted, Reigns doesn't defend it every pay-per-view. Still, how's he going to make it to next Mania without the Usos? Plus, Reigns' confidence must be at an all-time low, while paranoia at an all-time high. Now's the time to take him down. Of course, he'll be busy dealing with the Usos, but it'd be crazy in kayfabe if no superstar doesn't take advantage of it. Do you think a cash-in on a broken Reigns could work, or should his first loss be clean as a whistle? These questions could have been avoided if he wasn't the top champion anymore, but now, if nobody goes after him and his titles, it will just make the whole entire locker room look like absolute fools. His next defense should be interesting, whenever it may be.
Whenever it may be is the question.
Yeah, I think you're right there. All this great work elevating Roman has come at the expense of the rest of the company. Yeah. But, like the rest of the company's performance, the company itself is the hottest it's been in recent memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's that chat we had earlier that said that Sami is the greatest, accomplishment of the Triple H era. I think it's probably his only accomplishment of the Triple H era. Cody notwithstanding, because I think he did a very good job with Cody for a brief period of time.
Rhea and Dom, come on.
Oh, actually, I'll give you Rhea and Dom.
And I think, the Bloodline saga got extraordinary at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah, when he took over. I think he...
So not just Sami, I think Triple H has really sorted out the whole Bloodline story on Roman.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Or at least facilitated them to make it really, really work. Cobb, fantasy booking time. 1. Solo Roman versus Usos at Money in the Bank. 2. Roman faces both Usos in singles matches. 3. Roman causes Solo to leave the group as well. On the same day you hear, wrestling has more than one royal family. Cody faces Roman when he's all alone.
He's on a different brand. That's the other...
Survivor Series.
Like, he's on a different show now. And
if he wins Money in the Bank?
And he cashed in on Roman, then does
Announces
he
a cash in
Does he just move
advance?
to SmackDown?
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you can do.
Or-
But then what's the point of the draft?
Or just bring all the belts back in. Look, you're getting so caught up on this whole draft thing. WWE isn't.
Yeah, do you know what? I am my own worst enemy in this one. I am trying to make this make sense, even though they clearly don't care.
AJ Nebula. Hey guys, never get to watch live because of college class, but I finally get to make it. So cool. Question. Do you think Jimmy is the one to beat Roman? P.S. I really want to know if Tempest has hair under the mask. Well, he has it here, and he has it here.
Yeah.
And he has it here, but he doesn't have it here.
That is very interesting for audio listeners who won't know where you pointed to.
But he has it here. And I don't think Jimmy's the one, though.
No, I don't think so either. Jay, I think, is probably the answer. But I've been saying for a while, I could never see Jay as Universal Champion, the guy to carry Cody 100% as the top guy to carry the company. I never thought Jay was that guy. But then you got 2 titles, it doesn't matter as much, so you can put it on Jay. It's what you do with Jay after that, because I don't feel Jay probably just gets the Kofi run.
The Rock. I was wondering if Solo will turn on Roman due to Roman dedicating the tag match to the Wild Samoans elders, and Solo was sent by them. Also curious as to why Roman is cautious of Solo now.
I think he always has been.
Yeah.
Because he knows how dangerous Solo can be.
Roman's worried about everyone around him. Oh, that's why he's such a compelling character. Rodrigo Abru has become a member. Thank you. They say, Jimmy super kicking Roman was like a shot of adrenaline in the soul of the story. Keep up the good work and cheers. Thoughts on the Spider-Man 2 game? I've not played it.
Well, it's not out yet. It won't be out for a little while yet. But they released a big 10-minute long gameplay trailer for it at the Sony Expo, the online Expo thing they did last week. I think it looks dead good. The
last one was brilliant.
Last one was brilliant. Here's my big issue. My big controversial take I had about the Spider-Man game that was on the PlayStation 4 is that all of the stuff that you can unlock, all the extra gadgets and stuff and all that stuff, is completely pointless because you can beat the game without it. So that is just time-wasting mechanics.
It's one of the few games that I did every single thing. So I unlocked everything. I did every little extra bit.
Once I realized that I didn't need any of them, I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to complete the storyline." But I think all the Venom stuff or the symbiote suit stuff looks awesome in it. I love that it's Kraven the Hunter being Kraven coming to hunt Lizard around New York. I think that's a brilliant story. And yep, I texted this to Tempest, and the day that it came out, I said, "Peter's Venom." I think that's going to be the big reveal. There is no Eddie Brock. There's no Flash Thompson.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Pete. Does he look like Venom?
No, I think that's the reveal, is that Peter has the symbiote suit, and the symbiote suit turns him into Venom, as opposed to the symbiote suit going on to Eddie Brock and becoming Venom. And the final battle is you as Miles fighting against Peter as Venom.
Cool. Very nice.
That's my bold prediction.
And finally, for now, for the chats, we'll do the rest later. Hopstop says, hey guys, I've thought this would happen ever since they began building the tension with Roman and Jimmy after Mania, and I think it is all leading to Roman versus Jimmy at Money in the Bank, mirroring in some way Jay versus Roman. Thoughts?
It could work. Either that or you do the tag match, because I think the tag match is like having Jay on the opposite side of the ring to Roman. I think it'd be really interesting.
Right, so this pay-per-view started off with Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship. And watching it, really good match. Nice story that Seth told at the end. Seth won. And it finished, and I was like, great match.
Lovely.
Great match. Very well worked, apart from one bit. Very professional. It was slightly better than I thought it was.
Oh, it was about the quality I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, just slightly. Yeah. But then by the end of the night, I totally forgot about it.
It's the secondary title. It's a title that really doesn't feel like it means a whole hell of a lot. I think they're going to have to work really hard to make this feel like a credible world championship, because I don't think it does. And having it and it had to open the show because you had to end with the Bloodline. But then that brings up the point, why have you got a secondary title then?
Why did you just... If the Bloodline can exist by itself, why did you keep all the titles in that storyline?
Exactly.
No, I didn't so much mean about the championship.
Okay.
I meant more as in the match.
Oh, I see what you mean. It was just like it was a more broadly a forgettable match.
But it was a good. I mean, it was a solid match.
Really good.
Good match.
I don't think I would say that it was forgettable like that, because by the end of it, I was still like, I mean, when the debates that people were having in the building, amongst the patrons we had there was it the match of the night?
No. Well, it's not even close to. Honestly, my match of the night was Gunther Ali. I had such a fun time in that. Then it's Natalya.
Yeah, easily.
I loved Cody Brock, as goofy as it was. It's a Cody match.
It's what you're paid to what you get.
The main event, the finish of Asuka Belair, and there was that Seth Rollins AJ Styles match. I get it was at the opener, so recency bias, but honestly, I thought everyone else massively over delivered, and I thought Seth and AJ delivered.
Yeah,
I'm surprised by that. Because it's Seth and AJ.
I know, but I think there's a thing within WWE that this just happens. So on Raw, Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura had a match, and it was. I mean, I thought Dan was a bit harsh on this. But he was like, I thought it was actually a bit boring, and I was like, I don't think it was boring. It's just it's not as great as you think it should be. And I feel like that is a real WWE trait, where they take like the best wrestlers on the planet, put them in matches, and you go like, that is not as good as it should have been. Do you remember like AJ and Shinsuke's series of matches? Like, why aren't they as good as they should be?
I think, because that's of like a pre-trips time. You can always just say Vince, right? But it's confusing to me that it happens now. That this felt like, I think 4 or 5 years ago, if we saw this match, we'd be like, oh my God, what an amazing match that is. But because AEW's around and they're putting on such a high quality series of matches on TV every week, and just more accessibility to wrestling from all around the world, and WWE themselves with people like Gunther and Sheamus and all the Roman stuff and Sammy. It's like it felt a bit dated.
I mean, I did say to you when we were doing the live stream reactions, Seth Rollins felt like he was wrestling like Will Ospreay, but 50% slower.
Yeah. Anyway, very well wrestled, solid. The best stuff really came from Seth selling, where he did a dive outside, tweaked the knee, following an epic brainbuster from AJ on the apron.
Yeah, wicked.
And Seth sold his knee a lot, and then sometimes he just didn't. And
it's the Seth Rollins way.
He went to do the stomp, but his leg collapsed. Bit of drama there, but ultimately he super kicked AJ off a phenomenal forearm, stomp to win.
Hit the pedigree and got the stomp.
Yes, the
pedigree. Then Triple H came in to award him with the belt afterwards. I thought it was a very, very good match. I thought on paper this was down to be my match of the night, but a lot of things outshone it overall, including the angle that we got at the end of the show. But I thought this was very, very good. I not to beat a dead horse, I think they're going to work very hard to make this feel like a credible championship. Also now, I don't see how Roman could be called the undisputed champion when there's another champion there.
I just call him the disputed champion.
Well, yeah, you're like, you are a disputed champion. You're no longer an undisputed champion.
Just because we mentioned it earlier, there was a strange spot where Seth just stomped AJ's beautiful hair.
Yeah, I think maybe AJ was supposed to move, and like that's why Seth was purposely going for the miss. But AJ didn't move, so Seth just stomped him on his hair, and then AJ just got him and was like, miss me.
It was odd.
No, but he didn't, because you and I were saying this yesterday. He had two options: to sell it or not sell it, and he somehow did neither.
I don't understand. It's like a video game character that just like errors.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
But yes, very decent match. And Seth, but very newsworthy. What I liked about this show, actually, very, very newsworthy.
Absolutely.
Furthers the story for every bit of the company.
Even in the one match that I do not think delivered, it's certainly newsworthy.
Trish Stratus took on Becky Lynch next. They really, like the costume department of WWE, which I imagine the performers have a lot, the female performers have a lot of involvement with, like dictating what they want to wear. They have really managed to perfect the balance of, the cultural sensitivities of the area where women's bodies have to be mostly covered, but not like before when this started. It was baggy t-shirts and it looked like just stupid, really. But now, Becky's out there with the Kill Bill outfit.
Yeah.
And Trish is out there with a sort of evil version of the Kill Bill outfit. And it took me about 10 minutes of this match to go, oh, because they have to have everything covered. I didn't even think about it.
One of the, I think, a really interesting thing you can chart is watching the progression of the Saudi shows and go literally match by match that they've had with women on and see the progression of here is where we've started and where we've arrived. And yeah, you're right. Like, this now just feels like it's a character choice as opposed to just being dictated by the culture. I thought it was so good. And the match itself, I thought they kept it to be as simple as it needed to be. It was given time as well. This was a long Trish Stratus match.
15 minutes.
Which I think it's a risky move because she didn't do 15-minute matches when she was wrestling.
How old is she?
She must be in her 40s, maybe?
I think late 40s is the thing. 47!
Yeah. Wow. And but that's it. They kept it very, very simple. She just did simple heel maneuvers. She did her trademark spots. Becky bumped around for her. Kept it very, very simple. And I was there watching it, being like, this is good because it's not. No one's being embarrassed by this. No one is looking foolish in this. Like, one of the things I loved about Becky's go home promo from this is that your biggest fear is that these fans will realize you're not as good as they remember you being. And there is a genuine, you say that, and all of a sudden people will argue, which be like, oh, maybe she wasn't as good as I remember being. But I think they did a very good job in covering up some of the cracks on this. And by the final 5 minutes, it got damn good.
Yeah.
And then had a wicked finish.
Yeah, it really did like have a level of scrappy intensity that I think Becky is very, very good at. You know, where people are stumbling around and pulling hair, but it doesn't look like it's messy. It looks like, oh my God, they're having a fight. They traded submissions. So Trish tried to put on the sharpshooter. Becky put on the
disarmer.
The walls of Jericho first.
The walls of Jericho,
or the Boston Crab, whatever. And then the disarmer. And then they sort of scuffled around. And what happened next? Yeah, disarmer.
The
man slam in the corner.
Yeah, manhandle slam, and Trish got her foot on the ropes. And then on the outside, so that Becky sort of rolls to the outside, and she throws Trish back in from under. You're right.
I was just seeing what the live viewership was.
That's 1,800.
Oh, nice.
And just before Becky get back in the ring, Zoe Stark comes from underneath the ring, hits the Z360, or the Z360 as we would call it here, and hits Becky with a move, rolls her in, Stratusfaction, which Trish planted Becky with. Straight into the mat.
It's like skidded Becky's head across the canvas.
Right into the ground. Becky had a busted up nose and everything. It was like before Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And Trish gets the win. And we've now got this partnership of Trish and Zoe Stark. And I think Zoe's got so much upside. Like, she's got so much upside, but she's been wrestling to crickets the last couple of weeks on Raw. The 2 matches she's had in 3 weeks. I mean, crickets would be polite, the silence that she's been wrestling to. Now, she's going to get those reactions when she goes out on Raw. And I think that's a great, great move.
Yeah, it's so exciting going forward because Trish gets the heel victory. So I want Becky to come back and avenge that. Becky got a bit of fortunate color at the end there, busted open. I'm like, oh, it's literally a blood feud. That finish and that sort of fortunate accident of busting the nose open has elevated the anger in this a lot. Plus, by the end of it, it's being used as a little Trojan horse to get over a new star.
Yeah, love that.
Tick, 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 tick.
I thought this was awesome.
Speaking of awesome.
Oh, speaking of awesome. We split up the commentary duties last night on the live stream reactions. So, like me and you did the first match, and then me and Dan did the second match. And that's when I got my break. So I got to just, go and get a drink, get refreshments, go to the Lewin Center. And it also meant that I got to stand in with everyone who was in attendance for this match. I'm real glad I got to do it for this match.
It was so much fun. It was weird because it's Ali versus Gunther. We were heavily joking about, well, this is a squash if I ever saw one.
I said it's going to go one of 2 ways. Yeah. It's either going to be a 30-second squash, it's going to be Rhea and Natalya, or it is going to be Ali gets all the hope spots in, but eventually powerbomb and Gunther gets the win. It actually remarkably managed to be better than either of those 2 options.
Well, I thought there's also, and I said at the time, that the Zelina Vega backlash option, where, it's Rhea never is bothered, but actually Zelina gets some decent hope spots, but then Rhea easily beats her. That's like the middle option of that. But Ali kept on getting more and more and more, and I was like, but Gunther still never seemed in trouble. Really, really well done.
I think they did that Sami Zayn of, all you need is 3 seconds. Like, you just need that but what if moment. And Ali genuinely had some of those what if moments where there were people in that audience, myself included, that were like, oh, Ali's going to win the belt.
Yeah.
It was so good. And that is because Gunther's perfect. Gunther is a perfect wrestler. Like, we have been singing the praises of Walter on this channel now for the last 7 odd years, but he is just the best to do this sort of thing. There was a moment during this match when he did a move on Ali and Ali rolled to the outside and Gunther just posed. And I literally went, yeah!
Yeah, he does sort of, early on when Ali tried to chop him in the corner, Gunther just went, no, mate. And he starts walking towards Ali, arms down, just, no, you effed up.
Yeah,
it was really good. But oddly, before the match even began, oh, no, I wasn't going to do that bit.
Okay.
I'll get onto that bit.
Okay.
We had a video package of Ali getting to Saudi Arabia, sort of doing a vlog of, meeting all these people and being honored by certain, I don't know what. And then he goes to Mecca. And he has, quite a profound experience being amongst all these people. And it's like, this doesn't feel like the way you've been treated on TV recently.
Yeah, I based on the promo he did on Raw, which was like, I'm not doing this positive Ali thing because no one believes I can beat Gunther, and then Brock Lesnar tells him get a life. Are we dropping all the positive Ali stuff? Are we going to be going in a different direction for Mustafa Ali now? Free agent Mustafa Ali, lest we forget.
Well, what I think is Brock Lesnar is actually a spiritual leader. And when he said, get a life, Ali was like, I must find a deeper meaning. Brock is correct.
Wow.
So I think it's actually Brock's new gimmick.
Oh.
Is going to be sort of a wise... A wise man.
This wise old man that just walks past
advice.
Yelling at children. Get a life, kid.
It seems like abuse, but it's actually really, really...
It leads you down that path.
Yeah,
you
really
didn't
good
know
advice.
You needed to go.
But yeah, so Ali came out super babyface in Saudi Arabia, helped a lot by that video package and introduction. And to balance that with the heel presentation, granted, the people in the audience wouldn't have seen it because it was AR for the unfortunate benefit of people watching at home because AR sucks.
It's awful.
Were some like red banners, with little insignias, not those insignias, but
yeah,
very, very, very fascist.
How many more accidental Nazi things are we going to do with this character?
Well, the last accidental Nazi thing wasn't in a Gunther storyline.
No, it was when they were going to name one of his lackeys after a Nazi general.
Yes, yeah. But that was ages ago.
And then you're right. Then there was the Auschwitz thing.
Yeah, but that was separate.
It's just how many more? Like, yeah, sure, one is something. Sure, you just Google prison and you just put that into a video pack. These things happen. The third, you're like, how many times can you keep making accidental Nazi things before it's not an accident anymore?
I think it's a rib. I think they're saying, how far can we push this before we get cancelled? Because they're literally, like, we have Vince. Like,
we're untouchable.
We can do anything.
We are untouchable, basically.
Our partner company, he was film slapping his wife.
And then ran a company where other people slapped each other.
So yes, I wouldn't have done it.
Nope. Someone in the chat would be like, yes, accidental.
Because it's a shame because, Gunther's whole presentation, Imperium, it is very Empire referencing.
Well, but even back in his independent days, because they were ring camp,
yes,
people used to think that was a bit too on the nose because of Hitler's book and of Mein Kampf. So people used to think it's like, it's a bit Nazi-ish, this group. And like a lot of people from Austria and Germany were like, no, it's really not connected at all. Just because that word is the same is like it's not.
Yes,
the presentation, everything is completely different. But I remember having discussions with people on British independencies. They're like, some of the ring camp stuff makes me very uncomfortable.
But yeah, the there was an Austria-German culture predating 1933, where it is like it's like classic Austrian German Empire stuff.
Totally, yeah.
With the big pointy hats and the like.
So is that what you're saying? The next thing is to put him in a big pointy hat coming down to the ring.
It's not Nazi. Is it? Did they have it there? I think it's World War One where the pointy hats were.
Well, they're not Nazis. Yeah, I suppose like Germany in World War One, honestly,
they got cool pointy hat. Oh well, and World War Two.
I was going to say, yeah. I think you're going to try and make the argument. It's like Germany weren't seen as the bigger heels, the biggest heels that they have been since World War Two.
No, they got a big push.
They got a huge push going into World War Two,
and have continued to in all of Hollywood. What should we have for the villain for this? Captain America.
I mean, could be Russians. No,
well, that's good. That's good. We'll have that for everything else we don't use these guys for.
Yeah, get Ray Winston on the phone. I heard he does a flawless Russian accent.
So yeah, probably a bit too much time on the.
Maybe
the 3 seconds of AR.
Well, we probably put more talk into it than they put thoughts into doing it.
So that the actual match though was just awesome, and it's mostly because Gunther slaps people and he kicks people.
Yep,
and he power bombs people.
Imagine wanting to take the belt off of him, because you shouldn't. You want to in fact put more belts on him.
Yeah, well, don't give them ideas. They do that with other people. Just some of the spots. The best one was, for me, Ali going to do a top rope springboard off the apron to the inside. And WWE's camera work has gotten really, really good recently, I feel. Like, they're really good at getting those shots so you don't see the thing coming. And it's just Gunther, big boot, over the top rope, whacks Ali in the face. And credit to Ali here. He sells that mid-air like somersault death.
Yeah.
And he clatters to the floor, and then Gunther's right out there, and he throws him into the ring post, and he does another somersault flips up. Takes two to tango. Ali is a very good opponent for the size of Gunther.
This is why this match for me worked so well, is because Ali is very good at that ragdoll selling, being thrown around by the big guy. But similarly, Gunther is perfect at selling for the smaller guy. Like, he sells for big guys brilliantly as well, because they're just tough dudes that are just hitting each other for realsies. But when he's selling for a smaller guy, it's a different style of selling. And it's that brilliant balance of, I am in trouble, but I'm still in control. I'm being worked over, but I'm not really in danger. But also I am a little bit. He's just so great at it.
Yeah, because we've had a lot of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, Strowman. It's big guys. And you're like, oh yeah, I love a big guy Gunther match. But actually, there is this whole other area of small guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really, really good. And Ali just kept on getting these little comebacks. 450 splashes finisher at one point. They were brawling on the top rope, and Ali managed to get out and hit a walking power bomb.
And that's, again, part of that great Gunther selling, because he was like, his hands on his being like, this is not happening. No way. He's never going to, oh, no, wait. No, it is. Oh, no, wait. No, my hands are free. And then he starts to like, no. Yeah. It was superb.
Couple of really good kickouts as well from Gunther and Ali. Gunther dodged a 450. A massive shotgun drop kick.
Yeah.
Because he was angry. And then the powerbomb to win.
Yeah.
Excellent. We got a bit of KO and Sammy backstage. Sammy was just like, well, if we lose it tonight, we had a good run. And Owen's just like, what are you talking about? That's not what you're supposed to say. I don't love their dynamic together.
No? It does play better on TV, I think.
Bianca versus Asuka was next.
Okay, right. Okay. Before we get into this match, I'm going to play a clip from our WrestleTalk Podcast predictions video that went up the other day. Our mics will still be live, so we'll have to remain silent while this is on.
Oh, I wasn't on this one though.
No, you weren't on this one. Okay. No,
but I did also pick.
But here's what happened on that prediction show. I'll go first on this one because I think this is a safe bet. It's Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is 100% retaining this championship. There is a cat in hell's chance that Asuka is winning this belt. And you can clip this out and play it back. There is no chance in hell that Asuka is winning this match. Bianca Belair retains.
Yeah, I'd say that Asuka didn't have a cat in hell's chance of winning this belt. It's categorically not happening. There is no chance in hell that Asuka is winning this match. So who won this match?
Asuka did.
Oh, Asuka did. Great. And it's great, and I love the finish as well, and I'm really stoked for Asuka with the Raw Women's Championship on SmackDown. But all right, cool, I guess.
Yeah, the match itself was the least interesting actual in-ring match of the night. Like I think it went 15 minutes. Like, but it was a long 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Compared to everything else, which at least had a bit of story. This felt like a lazy repeat of Mania.
And that's why I thought Belair. There's no way Asuka was winning this, because this also it's not had much of a story going into either. Much like the like. So I was watching this with some people like in the audience, and they finished, and they were really happy. And then someone else was like, "I hope they could do a story now."
It was just like I thought this was just a filler opponent to get more days for Bianca's reign. But as Dan pointed out on that prediction show, crucially, the days don't matter anymore because Triple H has got to #1 on the list of what is it? Modern women's champions.
It's women's champion number of days in the modern era. So Bianca Belair has now passed that record. She passed that after Backlash. So Dan was like, she doesn't need the belt anymore, so you can just take it off her and put it on Asuka. And I was like, that would be like nonsense, because that really means that a lot of her title reigns have really meant nothing. It's just so you can get to a figure.
Just been there to get the number up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it turns out what it was. So that's why Bianca Belair never had any stories, because the stories weren't really the end point of this. It was just so she could have a big old historic record.
It's the opposite of Charlotte Flair, where the point of Charlotte's title reigns is to lose them as quickly as possible to increase the quantity of reigns. Whereas with Bianca, it was to just make one massive reign. So yeah. It's Triple H just trying to do stuff where under his book, he can say, well, I had this, and I had this, and I had this, all the #1.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's more shrewd political operating from Triple H, trying to get into those history books in real time.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the match was, to be honest, tedious.
It was a bit tedious.
Until the end.
Considering that the match was so good at Mania. Like, I loved the match they had at WrestleMania. I thought their match at WrestleMania was so great.
I wasn't as into it.
The controversial opinion I thought it was better than Charlotte's Rhea. I loved their WrestleMania match so much. And I know that a lot of people didn't like it because Asuka didn't win, but I never thought Asuka was winning, so that didn't surprise me much. But I just thought it was a banger. This, I thought, was tedious.
Yeah. Well wrestled, but nothing really to sink your teeth into. Near the end, Asuka misses the mist because Bianca just sort of steps back, and they go a bit longer. And then Asuka missed her own fingers, gets hoisted up for the KOD, and she gouges Belair's eyes
with the mist.
And that leads to the finish, and Asuka wins.
She just gives her a little limp kick and pins her clean. Well, not clean, but she got a mist in her eyes. Yeah, just I don't know. This actually did nothing for me.
I mean, the result does, but the finish in the match.
Yeah, I think the finish of the match does little for me. I thought it was a very clever finish, but the actual result does little for me. I'm excited to see what you can do with Asuka, but I don't hold a lot of... You know what? I'm actually going to have optimism on this one. I think that it could be good. It hasn't been in the past, but I think it could be good this time. But it's just... you put the belt back on Asuka and you ended this quote-unquote historic reign with nothing, because you didn't do a big story leading into this. You didn't give Asuka loads of heat going into this to finally win the belt. You just switched the belt.
I know Belair is a Triple H gal.
Yeah.
But Ripley and Asuka feel like Triple H gals who are more in line with Triple H's tastes. Like Rhea Ripley really is like modern day China, right?
Yeah, and she's into metal music.
Yeah, and Asuka, he had that great run under his guidance in NXT. So I feel like Asuka could have a really, really good run with the belt here, Like the undefeated, never actually lost it, Empress of Tomorrow proper run that we all wanted for her when she originally got called up. As I imagine Triple H probably wanted when she originally got called up, before she was fed to the great Charlotte machine.
Well, Charlotte has got to come back at some point.
That should be the FTR's new finisher. the Charlotte machine. And yeah, I'm optimistic.
Me too. Well, do you know what? I hope something good comes out of this.
Yes. After that, we had Natalya versus Ripley. Natalya's birthday.
What a birthday it was! This was brilliant. This is awesome.
I'm so glad that Ali Gunther wasn't a squash, because we got that great match and it saved the squash for this. Because really, going into this, I thought that would be reversed. Because I look at a Natalya title match, it happens all the time, and it's it's always 7 minutes and it's always boring. This was Natalya's best match I've ever seen.
It probably really was, and she did nothing in it. She just got ragdolled around. Like, Rhea beat her up, threw her into the stairs a couple of times, got her back in the ring, hit the riptide and won. And it was awesome.
The official match time on Wikipedia is 1 minute 10 seconds. However, I've seen people say it was actually 1 minute 9 seconds, aka 69 seconds. Nice. It was great.
It was a gif.
Ripley was dominant, and then afterwards, Dominic came in. I liked how he asked permission if he could come over to celebrate.
Yeah.
And she's like, yes.
The celebration afterwards, I think, is what really helps. Because, like, what a duo they are together. Like, Dom jumps up and he celebrates in Rhea's arms as they go, like, yeah. And Rhea's got my new favorite face in wrestling, which is just going, there.
Yeah.
She did it so many times. She's going, there. And it's brilliant. And it's so good. And Dom's like, woohoo, Mummy did it. And she's going, there. And then we're at the ramp, and I'm like, oh, give them all. Give Dom Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Oh, yes, please. I would love. That's what I want. More than Jay, more than Cody. I want Dominic or Logan Paul.
Yeah, Dominic or Logan Paul would be my picks. Like, I get the argument that you kind of really need to heat back up Money in the Bank because it hasn't had a good one since Seth. That was a long time ago. That was 8 years ago. So like, we need a good one now. But no, I'm putting it on Dom because I think that'd be really funny television.
Although Logan Paul, now that Seth's got that belt.
Oh, the rematch. That's a really good show, actually. Yeah. And also, like, I was saying this yesterday.
Then you can have Logan Paul as World Heavyweight Championship.
Well, this is what we were saying.
And he'd carry it on every YouTube vlog.
This is what I was saying yesterday at the watch party. That here's the brilliance of putting it on Logan Paul. He has the Money in the Bank briefcase in all of his podcasts and all of his vlogs. The better thing is, though, he's never on TV. Which means when means when he does show up on TV with that briefcase, it's something huge. Like, oh no, oh wow, what's this mean? Like, that is a sort of huge build you can do for it. And then you're right, he wins the world title.
It's a great way to get the title on him.
Yeah, you put the world title, and he's just there with the world title behind him in all of his vlogs and stuff like that. It is, might be the best thing you could do with that belt.
That is like. I know we had the rock and wrestling explosion in the early 80s, but as much as it pains to say, mainstream success-wise, having the influencer and wrestling connection now is a very smart and savvy way to go.
Logan Paul's the pick.
Ooh.
Either him or Dom.
But yes, great stuff from Natalya and Ripley. And also great stuff from Cody versus Brock. Which was the final match we'll talk about.
Summed up brilliantly by someone who was in the crowd during this match who said it very loudly, "This is so stupid and I love it."
So Cody comes down. He's got the cast because he has broken his arm.
Yeah.
Even though Triple H on Monday's Raw, right, was like, okay, we won't get the doctor to check you out. Yeah. We'll let you fight. And then the story going into this was, oh, actually, they did just let the doctor check him out, and he has got a broken arm, and they're just going to let it happen.
Yeah, going to let him wrestle anyway.
What?
I don't want to...
They went out of their way to explain the good version that makes sense, where they're not going to let the doctor check him.
This is the Codyverse.
But I want a titanium cast on my
That's
arm.
exactly it. He's walked in and be like,
how can I get it?
How can I implement this? And what if I was cleared, and this is now a weapon that I can use?
Yeah.
Can I get a little America on there?
The fact that it was a titanium cast as well. the medal of choice of Robot Wars.
This is what you have Cody Rhodes for. You don't have Cody Rhodes to do an athletic spot fest thing. No, you have Cody to do all the John Cena storylines you did in 06 to 013 that everyone booed, but now they cheer.
Yeah. It was really fun because, I mean, from an actual, like, face-heel dynamic, I loved it. Because Brock Brock cheated just in advance of the match where he broke Cody's arm. That's not cool. So Cody's got this huge disadvantage, and he turns it into an advantage. That's like smart babyface classic hero storytelling. That thing that is your detriment, you turn into a positive to beat the big villain and slay the monster. Well, it didn't go that way, but it did for a bit. Brock took him to Suplex City, but then Cody started getting on top, using the titanium cast as a weapon.
Yeah, because of the adversity. He's going through the adversity here. He's fighting against the odds. He's overcoming all obstacles. This is all of the John Cena storylines that we had. It's just now we like this one, so it's fine. And I mean, look, I think people are going to want to talk about the finish of this match because it was really silly.
I don't think it was silly. I don't understand because you said that last night, and
that was everybody's like everyone in the building was like that makes no sense because you're in an armbar. How did you pass out from an armbar? Like
pain.
Well, yes, and so what people are going to reference is the Austin finish at WrestleMania. The difference there, Austin was pissing blood out of his forehead, and that was the loss of blood. Also, it was part of the reason why he passed out. But Cody was in this Kimura for about 15 minutes.
That was a great elongated hold, though.
I was like, I might be getting a little too long on this one. And then it went long, and I was like, he was right. Go longer.
Yeah.
Like, stay in that move for even longer, bud. And they did it a couple of times, and then eventually he did pass out from the pain. And it did feel very silly, but it's what I want from my Cody matches. So I loved it. I said it was the perfect review I heard of it. That was so stupid, and I loved it.
Sports entertained. A hard sports entertained. Loved it. So yeah, overall, easily the best Saudi show they've ever done. Every match was newsworthy and really enjoyable. Belair, Asuka, there's an asterisk over it.
An asterisk.
I gave it 96%, which is the same amount I gave Clash.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe this is tainted by where we were. People said that to us yesterday, being like, yeah, Clash felt like it was ranked so highly because, as we said, I mean, we were watching it with like 150 other like brilliant wrestling fans. We had a wonderful time, and I think maybe that's tarred to my opinion on this. But I generally had a brilliant time with this show. I thought top to bottom, T to B, Asuka and Belair's tedious match notwithstanding, newsworthy finish. I just thought everything on this card was great.
And you take out Night 2, and just parts of Night 2 of WrestleMania 39. What a streak of pay-per-views WWE are on.
This is the Triple H formula. TV is so missable. It's mostly boring. It's usually forgettable and not worth your time. But the pay-per-views are incredible. That was what he did with NXT for 5 years. Really tedious TV, an incredible takeover. And that's what he's doing now he's got the book in charge of the main roster. TV that is it's 3 out of 5 every week, and then a 5 out of 5 pay-per-view. And I don't mind it.
And it's working as well.
It's working,
TV ratings, merchandise sales.
It works.
Very hot right now.
Because if you just stay at the same level, if you don't have to go up or down, you stay at the same level, you're fine.
Let's get into your UltraChats for the rest of the show, please. Last call for UltraChats, WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5. Power Packers 90, been a member for 21 months. So Roman not defending his 2 belts closes over the World Heavyweight belt. Totally not the B+ consolation prize, lols. I agree with SRS post-show. FTF, no. I forgot what that stood for then. Yep. I haven't heard that for a while.
But when you have that Bloodline angle, you then can't close with the World Heavyweight title. But that's all. Like, and this is, hey, look, I don't want to sound like the bastion of always being right, but I usually am in these sorts of things. This is the problem with having 2 world titles. One of them cannot feel bigger than the other, or even on the same level as the other.
35 Antonio. It just dawned on me. What if this Cody redemption story is tied to this fall? Oh, it's tied to this fall of the Bloodline story we're seeing right now, and both end with Cody facing Roman alone at WrestleMania. I've had that a few times. Cody finally finishes story by delivering the final blow to Roman Reigns and putting the head of the table character out for good. Also, happy Bianca lost and hope they finally give an edge, not Adam Copeland, to her character because she desperately needs something new. By the way, shame on Luke for hating cheese and kids.
Yeah, I don't know where the second bit came from.
Famously.
Yeah, famously
Famously a DAD.
My problem there, I think, at 35 Antonio is, I think if we're beating Roman and we're ending this character, I feel like it has to end with one of the Bloodline now. And I thought that's what they were going to do. Cody wins the belts at Mania, and then you have Jay, Jimmy, and Solo destroy the head of the table character just without the belts. I don't think Cody ending this storyline is now the satisfying conclusion to this character.
Will Campbell. Hey guys, one of my favorite things about the whole weekend was WWE putting up the vlog of Sammy finally being able to make the pilgrimage to Mecca. He was so beside himself and was so relieved, overjoyed that he was able to make the trip. Loved that a lot. Yeah, really well done. John Wick, 1GM. Hopefully with Asuka winning the title, it can go into a storyline where she can just constantly cost Belair chances at the title due to injury or just constant interference in her matches, so she can't fight Asuka again until Royal Rumble or something.
Build to that WrestleMania rematch.
Hot tag.
Matt Hennessy says, I do believe Roman beating Cody at Mania was the right call. I think come Mania 40, you get Cody versus Roman without the Bloodline, a chief without a tribe. Trielo Marcus says, hey, I hope you all had a lot of fun yesterday, but the important question, are you going to do a watch party for Money in the Bank? That's an interesting idea there. What if we did do a watch party for Money in the Bank? What if we actually announced to everyone in attendance at last night's watch party that we are doing a watch-along party for Money in the Bank at the Long Arm Pub and Brewery on July 1st? July 1st,
yeah, I think so.
July 1st. Tickets for that will be going on sale next week. However, those who were in attendance last night are getting a 24-hour early access priority signing up to get their tickets first. So yeah, tickets will be going on sale for that event next week.
We've got a pre-sale. Look at us.
I'm learning from the best. An unknown username, please do let our moderators know in the chats. They say, hi, it's Manic. Oh, it's Manic here. Thanks for being such amazing host yesterday, making time to meet everyone even when you were live. Where did WWE go from here? Thanks for all the content, lads.
Oh, thank you for coming along, Manic. Where does WWE go from here? I think we've answered a lot of that already. But yeah, more Bloodline stuff. It's the hottest stuff in the company.
On that note as well, people meeting people even when they were live. Just as we started going on air, someone took a selfie over their shoulder with us in the background while we were on air, and I was like, a bit cheeky. She was very funny though. Ross Melsby says, thanks for hosting the viewing party last night. Me and my mate had a blast and met some great new friends. I plan to meet up again for All In. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Luke, for the handshake in the chat. And sorry, Ollie, for bothering you at the bus stop. I was a tad drunk.
I know who that was.
The Jaunty Peacock says, what a pleasure to meet you all at the watch-along party yesterday. Such fun to talk Luke's DAD outfit, Tempest mask, and reminisce about eggs with Ollie.
I told you about that person. We were just talking about eggs.
The show was cracking too. The show was cracking too.
Nice.
Perfect length, great variety for the matches, so it never got boring.
3 hours, 17 minutes, that pay-per-view. No pre-show.
Beautiful.
That's the way to do it.
Jay Patel has become a member who says, thanks for the great night, chaps. I came all the way from Leeds. Can't wait for Double or Nothing.
I keep forgetting that's tonight.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
We're not doing it. Mr. Toff 2 says, thanks for a great night, guys. Was amazing watching the show with everyone. It definitely made the show last night a higher caliber than I was expecting. I'm made to feel welcome, and I made some new friends there as well. I'm looking forward to the next one.
I love how many people made new friends.
Yeah, a lot of people came up to us to say, like, I came here on my own. But I'd sent an email out, like, beforehand to be like, if you go on your own, you'll be fine because there'll be loads of other people. Just walk up to people and just, like, introduce yourself. And if not, I'll be your mate. And you'll have a great night. So many people came up to me being like,
I was really nervous about coming on my own, but I've now made some really good friends. And we've exchanged numbers. We're going to be meeting up for more wrestling events. So that's great. That's exactly what you want to hear. Gaz Gengar says, lads, thanks for last night. It was awesome. All evening with the other WrestleTalk fans watching King of the Ring. Night of Champions. Brilliant. Alamak K says, what I love about the Bloodline angle was that each brother is trying to protect the other brother in their own way. Jimmy wants to protect Jimmy from Roman's wrath, while Jimmy wants them to be free from Roman. Also, I think Rudy Charles will be the one to dethrone Roman.
Push Rudy.
Finally, it's a storyline that Ollie Davis can get on board with.
We've all been looking in the wrong direction for who beats Roman Reigns.
Christopher says, sorry for going off topic here, but I want to let you guys know that the Tag Team Championship match for NXT Battleground is not showing up on the Wrestle League predictions. Much love. There's a reason for that. It was announced later than we were worried that people would miss out on doing it. So because people had already submitted their Wrestle League predictions and then the match got confirmed, we didn't want people to be missing out on it. So we opted not to have it. But thank you very much. And Scott Young says, do we get a Bloodline 4-way at some point?
I mean, that would be really fun at some point. You know, like how eventually we got the Shield triple threat. Be weird with Jimmy and Jay. I've got no interest in Jimmy and Jay wrestle each other. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, certainly on paper. I'd be really into that.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you ever so much, everybody who's chatted in and become a member and who joined us live last night. It was a real pleasure to meet you all. And very humbling experience. But yes, stick around, press subscribe, because later today we've got Luke's News going live on WrestleTalk with more on the Bloodline twists and turns that are reported to happen going forward. And then live reactions to AEW Double or Nothing tonight with Tempest and Adam Blompier.
And then tomorrow, Ollie Davis will be back in this studio reviewing Double or Nothing with The Truth, the Professor Dan Layton, who was a Nat's dick away from winning the That Championship last night.
Yeah.
Lost out by one point. So, yeah, he'll be doing the review tomorrow for Double or Nothing. So please do enable notifications to know when we go live with all of that stuff. Until then, I've been Luke Owen, DAD. That's been Ollie Davis. Jam that jam.